Hello.
Yes, bro. How are we doing? Sorry, I was late to this. I am a very, very busy guy. I'm an absolute workhorse. I never stop working 24/7. I don't even sleep, bro. I hate myself already. Um, how are you doing? How you doing?
Good, bro. I've got a little special guest on today's podcast for the visual listeners. Oh,
Have you, the visual listeners, have you got a cat or something?
visual
Oh,
listener.
is that a t-shirt?
Yes, it's a jumper.
It's got a jumper with a teddy bear on.
Yeah, I bought this for my girlfriend 2 years ago. It's massive, so it's really big on her. But yeah,
That is,
cute.
where did you get that? I want one.
I found it. I saw it on an Instagram ad, and I was like, yeah, all right.
Oh, bro, I want to get one of those. That's so cool. Imagine being the only person walking into your lecture with a teddy bear on them. Like, fucking too cool.
I really want to train on it, like heavy hacks, you know.
Yeah, fucking. What gets you psyched up for a top set? Looking at a teddy bear, bro. I'm ready.
Squeezing the bear.
Literally, like anxiety fueled teddy bear squeeze. Fucking hell. Why does anybody listen to us?
What have you been up to today, man? What have you been up to?
Oh, mate, Wednesday's always my busiest day. So check-ins this morning, and then had a seminar at, what was it, 12? So
Yeah.
walked to campus for that. And then I came back, finished up a uni assignment, carrying the group project, carrying it. No, in all seriousness, I'm so glad to have group projects done because they're an absolute headache. Then I went and trained legs. My head was really not in it, so we called it a day after split squats. I got pinned at the bottom of the pendulum and literally almost had a breakdown mid-set. So that was good. That was a really, really good day. And I was like, you know what? Do you know what I should really, really do to fuck my quads up even more? Do a drop set on fucking split squats. So I did, what was it, set 15, then dropped the dumbbells, and then did another 7. And I was like, are my knees fucked? And I was like, no, okay, that's literally my quad dying. So I will definitely be doing that again. Because that was banging. And then I came back, had a consult call, and now I am wasting my time talking to you.
Yes, you are. Yeah. You really
so,
are.
And what have you been up to, bro?
Because if anyone who doesn't know, I'm doing the open uni, so I'm doing an online uni. For anyone who's outside the UK, I don't know if we don't even have one listener, so there you go. But yeah, I'm doing the open uni, so all my lectures, seminars, everything is available to me from the start. The only thing that I have to book is like specific tutorials. I had a tutorial yesterday, but I didn't have any today. So I literally woke up, jumped on the computer, ran through some lectures, some seminars, wrapped up some modules as well. Every module I have to do like a little quiz. And some
bow on them as well.
You what?
Did you put a bow on them as well?
Oh, a bow. Oh, fuck off.
Wrapped up the thing.
Yeah, ticked off, boxed off, bro. Monday, work block 1 boxed off, bro. Now into work block 2. Then
you literally put box emojis on your checklist for the day the other day. Fuck off. I love that, but I was like, this guy. He is seriously ticking the boxes. He is seriously ticking the boxes. I am actually listening to you. I'm just writing down the listener questions so I can move my phone.
Yeah, so boxed off work block 1, then into the coaching block, boxed that off. Mill 1 and 2 down. Then we went to war, upper body 2 today.
Did you start with side delts?
We went, yeah, what was that? I put on my story the other day, like we went to war with side delts, then put some stupid music over the top. Yeah, I don't know. People take themselves too seriously with training, you know, like people thinking that you have to listen to like really heavy music.
Bro, I listen to shit that makes me want to cry in the gym.
Whatever, right? When people ask me what do you listen to, I don't really have like any go-tos. Whatever will make me perform well in that next set. That could be fucking Ariana Grande, or that could be Death Grips, or it could be fucking Cannibal Corpse. Like, it doesn't matter, you know, like fucking whatever I'm feeling in that set.
I reckon my top 3 songs
Yeah.
would be Hometown Glory by Adele. That one gets me going fucking every
Fucking
time.
hell. Jesus.
Time by Hans Zimmer. That one's sick. And
Right.
then Taylor Swift, I Knew You Were Trouble.
No way.
Yeah, bro.
That is mad.
Yeah, bro. I can't listen to that one training legs though. That's an upper body tune.
Yeah, fair.
The other 2 I could listen to either, but I basically exclusively reserve the previous 2 for Sets on the Hack.
Fair.
They are banging though. They are banging. I have definitely got a female music taste, but I literally do not care.
Female music taste. Shut up.
Bro. It's so good. It's so good. So should we get into some questions?
Yes, Bev. Fire them away.
Okay.
Put us in the hot
Okay,
seat.
cool. So first one, how do I not gain weight over Christmas?
How do you not gain weight over Christmas?
Yeah.
Well, having your calories at maintenance is a good way to start off. This is what I'm doing for most of my clients, especially ones that are pushing up, and this is what I'm doing for myself. Because part of Christmas is you're going to be eating a little bit off plan. You're going to be enjoying yourself. So if you're in an active gaining phase, it makes sense to maybe pull back a tad and kind of allow for that. Calorie banking and calorie cycling. If you know that, say, Christmas week, you're going to have a big blowout dinner, you might want to pull back a couple of 100 calories every single day to put towards that dinner. And then like little appetite hacks, drinking plenty of water, getting your protein in, veg in, and trying to save your calories for that meal. But ultimately, what I would say to the person asking this question is it's Christmas, enjoy yourself. Doesn't really matter. If you get a little bit of fat, you can always drop that off after. I'm probably going to gain a little bit over Christmas, and I will probably just maintain or diet off a little bit, and it is what it is. What would you say, Luke?
So what I'm doing with my clients over the Christmas period, I basically recorded like a 30-minute Loom video the other week going over how exactly we're going to manage everything. But the long and short of it is like running through all of the things that we're going to be focused on in off-plan meals to make sure that they don't need to be like tracking on Christmas Day, and they can just focus enjoying the time with their family. And essentially I've sort of had a chat with everyone, and the sort of rough outline is we're going to be bringing everybody up to maintenance calories who's in a deficit for 1 to 2 weeks before, depending on like what they've got going on life wise. So you aren't going into Christmas Day like fucking ravenous and then eat the house, because like that's not a good outcome for anybody. My main focus is just making sure that this is the first Christmas where they don't fucking gain 5 kilos. And like if they can maintain, banging, happy with that. Well happy.
Yeah, I think that's important to say. If anyone is planning on dieting through Christmas, that might be a bit more counterintuitive than you think, because you might think, oh well, if I'm dieting before and after, that means I've got more wiggle room. If I go over Christmas Day, I'll maintain. But the odds of you taking the piss with that meal there are higher if you are hungrier. So mate, that's a fucking sick strategy. I think pretty much most people, you probably want to be on maintenance calories around this time or within the next few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Like normally when you're at a social occasion, you've got one fuck it button, but at Christmas, you've got a fuck it button next to the turkey. You've got a fuck it button next to the roast potatoes. You've got a fuck it button next to the Yorkshire puddings. You've got a big fuck off fuck it button in the tub of celebrations.
Yeah.
And chances are, if you go in there starving, you're going to press fucking all of them.
It's
not ideal.
Like having that mindset of on Christmas, it's not about the food. The food is nice. It's nice to be able to enjoy that meal with friends and family, but we're there to enjoy it, and we're there to be with friends and family, and we're not there to stuff our faces and feel sick, because that's not going to be a nice Christmas.
What if I'm related to the turkey?
Oh,
didn't think of that one. Did you?
That'll explain your high level of lean mass, bro.
Turkeys have much lean mass. I thought turkeys were fat.
No, they're white meat. That turkey breast is like really lean.
Also, opinions on turkey.
First year of uni, I lived off of minced turkey, and now it's fucking grim.
I think turkey is only acceptable Christmas Day.
Yep, I can
Any
stomach
other,
it.
have you noticed that? Like literally any other time of year, if you try and buy turkey, it's fucking well cheap. Aside from
Yeah,
turkey, they're still relatively expensive. But if you try and get one like in December, you're fucked, mate. It's twice the price.
yeah,
I
mate.
think chicken is better. Turkey is only good when it's just been cooked. You slather it in gravy and sauce. But I also really like a side of beef for Christmas.
Yeah,
That's banging.
I'm a fan of gammon, bro. I've made my family.
Oh,
I've made
mate.
my family do
My
that
mum
every
does the
Christmas.
best gammon for Christmas. She'll
Oh,
literally get like a full liter of Coke and then like slow cook the gammon in Coke. And I'm like, Mum, I didn't know that I could love you anymore, but this is incredible.
ooh, that is
I think I
insane.
might be getting a little bit food focused from the diet now. Fucking hell.
Hey, welcome to the club,
We're
Lukey
winning,
boy.
bro. We're
New
winning. We're
carbcast,
getting the food focus back.
carbcast, mate. Let's go.
Yeah. I actually woke up my lightest ever. I can't remember if we said this on the last podcast. I woke up my lightest ever after going out and doing like 20k steps in the space of 6 hours. So that was banging. And then spike up, and then it's sort of coming back down again now. But I was actually quite impressed that I didn't act like an absolute bellend because I haven't gone out in ages.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was sound, mate. It was sound. So many Jaeger bombs were consumed.
Oh, Jaeger bombs are
So
fucking
many.
banging, bro.
Yeah, I literally had DP Fit there, like egging me on the whole time, and I swear I am gonna spew at some point. But I actually didn't throw up, so I was very happy about that. But then I regretted not throwing up, like in the afternoon of the next day.
Yeah.
Like I was like, if I'd have just sat by the toilet, I would have thrown up, and then I
Yeah.
would have felt so much better.
Yeah.
So that is my strategy for next time: is just throw up in the morning and be sound.
Fair.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Get the poison out of your system, bro. Did you get any questions?
I fucking did, and I can't find it, man. I feel really bad because I promised this. I was going to ask this on the pod last time, because I got some good ones from last time, and I didn't put up one this week because I've got a little fucking backlog now from where we haven't done them.
I just have a section in my notes of questions that I didn't answer but weren't really important at the time.
Yeah. Oh,
Right. Okay. I'll give you another one.
yeah, go on.
This guy didn't actually ask us how. He just said, "Really want to grow my arms." So I don't know if he wants help with that or
Good man. You know, I'm glad you have goals.
just train them.
Just
Simple.
train them.
Just simple.
Just train them.
No, when it comes to like improving the body part, I think the first thing you should always focus on is making sure, especially with something like arms, is making sure that you've actually got good technique doing it.
Yep.
Because I can fucking swing 20 kilo dumbbells up, but I'm getting a great front delt workout from that. And my hips are also feeling a little bit nifty, but my biceps aren't doing too good. So making sure you've got good execution is the first thing, then training intensely. And then after that, you can look at escalating volume. But if you don't train close to failure and you train like a twat, that's why your arms aren't growing. You don't need to worry about doing more.
Yeah. If you look at IFBB Pro Kuba Saline, he will curl with like 10 to 15 kilos, and his arms are probably 6 times most people's. So why are you touching 20 kilos? Yeah, like the first thing is execution.
Touching new weights, bro.
Touching new weights. The first thing is execution, like you said. And then once you truly, genuinely have a good handle on that, and you know that you're going appropriately near to failure, then making sure that you're feeling those movements that you're doing, and then maybe higher frequency. But I'd say for most people and for most of our audience, it is just a case of technique. Unless you've been training for decades and you really have a lagging body part, it is probably just that you're not connecting well with it and you're not performing it accurately enough. There you go.
Oh yeah, that's another like big pet peeve of mine. Like I have body parts which I want to improve more, but all of me needs to improve. So I don't need to do fucking loads of something. Like I'm training my biceps. I'm actually training them. Oh, I am training them twice a week now, and they're sound. Like if you're training something twice a week, that's absolutely fine. You don't need to do a fucking arm day.
Yeah.
Like you just train them.
Yeah,
Simple.
like most people struggle with arms, right? Because they or arms and delts, because they tack them on at the end. They're tired, they're fatigued, they don't give a shit. and they treat it like it's they treat it like
Rough
it's a
work.
squat, or like either pump work going like nowhere near failure and not progressing, or just absolutely flinging the dumbbells with no care for any kind of like control. Like if you see someone swinging a dumbbell on a bicep curl, it's because they're scared to lower it slowly because it hurts too much. Like that is why they are doing it. Do you know why it hurts so much? Because it's really good stimulus to grow your bicep. But people be
Really
like,
hurting, to be fair.
yeah, no one wants to control a curl down. It's fucking painful. But that
Dude,
shows
be really fucking hurting, man.
how good it is. It's the same for like, a hack squat. Like if people are like, oh, I don't want to slow it down because that really hurts.
I always get comments about my eccentrics, bro.
Really?
Like, I get people being like, fuck that eccentric. Like,
Yeah.
that's horrendous.
But the thing is that those same people will then be like, oh, my quads are lacking. I need to add another plate to my squat. They'll be like, you're just scared of control. Like
It gives me so much anxiety when I see people like slingshot down on a hack squat. I'm like, oh no, please don't break. I don't want to feel like somewhat responsible for being near you and not saying anything.
But like, just it's like common sense. People like be like, I don't want to slow down the eccentric because it burns so much. Oh, but how do I get more out of my hack squat? Or like, you're literally not making it as hard as possible. Make an exercise as hard as possible on the target muscle, and then get fucking silly strong. Like, be Nick Gloff. Like, hack squat with 4-second eccentrics and a pause, and then get up to 8 plates, and then you'll have big legs. There you go, done. Sorted, mate.
Really strong. Bosh.
Yeah.
Bosh. That was such a simple question, and we took like 5 minutes to answer that.
Yeah.
So summary.
It wasn't even a question.
Yeah, it wasn't even a question. Fuck you, bro. It wasn't even a question. Summary: get good technique, train close to failure, make sure you're training them twice a week, then escalate volume if you need to.
Yep.
But like, also make sure you're actually in a surplus. That's probably a good point.
Yeah. The thing is, I feel for most people when it comes to arms, it is just a case of accuracy. Like,
yeah, I would agree.
Accuracy.
I really enjoy doing like arms or delts at the start of leg day.
Yeah, that's a shout.
It doesn't impede the rest of the session.
Yeah, and it's nice to do them fresh as well, because you never get a chance to do them where you're completely fresh.
Yeah, it's like a fresh trim, but for your arms. Yeah, I said it. Right. Did you find your questions or not?
No. I've got a reel that's sat on my Instagram, so I can't check my archive.
What do you mean it's sat on your Instagram?
Like, it's like I'm halfway through writing it, like halfway through making it, so I can't like delete it. Look.
Okay, bro. Right. This is rookie moves here. Moves. So what you do is you write all your captions in the notes section.
Yeah.
And then you like copy and paste them over. And then you save any that you think are like good and you could use again later.
I've tried that, but my notes just like seems to delete them. I've got some on Google Drive, to be fair. But
like, bro, I'd be so fucked if my notes got deleted. I checked the other day and I've got like 250.
Mate, mine straight. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I just lose. I like Apple Notes because I got an iPhone because I'm loaded. Just kidding. They just delete like some of my notes. It's the same for Instagram. Like, I had a week's worth of drafts of reels and they all got deleted. I don't know.
No, it deletes. It deletes when you fucking. It deletes when you like download the app, or where you delete the app or log out or something like that.
I didn't delete it.
I edit all of mine in. Don't you use that editing thing? I can't remember what it's called though. Can you not download them from there and save it?
Yeah, I do. But like, I had them all. Like, I don't actually edit any of them on Instagram. I edit it all on my computer. But I had them all lined up with the thumbnail, with the caption, the hashtags, like a week's worth. And then I went onto my drafts one day and there was just none. I was like, cool, nice, thanks. Human.
Drafts is an underrated game as well. I quite like that game.
Oh, facts, bro. Fuck chess. It's complicated.
My nan first started teaching me to play when I was like 5 when we were on holiday.
Yeah.
And literally for years I could not beat her. And now she gets demolished every single time. No mercy.
Bro's progressively overloaded.
Progressively overload draft ability.
He's got a training effect. He's like...
Speaking of training, next question. Do I need to train over Christmas to not get fat? Define Christmas.
That's a really interesting question, actually.
Do we mean the day? Do we mean Eve So Boxing Day, do we mean the week? Do we mean the whole month of December?
I'd be interested in how your training is preventing you from getting fat. Like, I don't know, are you just going in and doing like 5 hours of cardio and then going home and eating the kitchen sink? I guess so.
They don't taste it good.
No, you don't need to train over Christmas. Enjoy your Christmas. If that means training, if that means not training, then do that. And if your calories are that high that you're really stressed, that having really little expenditure is going to make you go in a massive surplus and just pull food down. Maintenance, like we talked about, I don't think it makes sense. Like my weight gain has plateaued. And me and Liam have been like, yeah, we're just not going to push weight on because I'll probably gain over Christmas due to just eating a fuck ton of turkey. I'm going to try and be reasonable, but it is Christmas at the end of the day, and I'm unreasonable. So I'm going through.
Why does that sound like an introduction? You know, when you go to like those group things and you have to like tell someone about yourself. I just imagine yours being. Hi, my name is Jack, and I am unreasonably food focused.
Ever since we had Ollie on the performance platform, go and watch the episode if you haven't already, guys. Ever since we had Ollie on, and he was like, I don't know if he said it on camera or not. He was like, mate, you should get your your ghrelin checked out, like your hunger hormones checked out, to see if you're like just fucked. And that's been in my head ever since. I'm like, fuck, should I actually get them checked out?
Oh yeah, maybe to be fair.
Like what kind of?
I don't even know if that was checked on my blood work. I can't remember.
Yeah.
On the note of training over Christmas, I want to get. So I think Christmas Day is on a Sunday, right?
Yes, sir.
So I can't train Boxing Day because I'm going to my family. I could maybe train really early on Boxing Day, depending on when we go. I don't know. But I want to get a savage pump from all the roast puddings and roast potatoes that I am going to be eating. Not roast puddings, you fucking moron.
I was going to say, what is a roast pudding?
Yorkshire puddings. Well, I was going to say roast potatoes.
I'm going to talk while Luke coughs. Luke is not coughing. Anyway, optimal hypertrophy. How is it done? We don't know. Listen somewhere else. Anyway, continue, Luke.
Roast potatoes are so good when they are fucking.
You're so food focused, you cunt.
They're so good.
They're coming. So good. The food focus is coming. Are you going to be pulling up out of your mini cut during Christmas, or just having it as an off plan and then plowing on?
I'm not entirely sure because I want to be like absolutely ravenous, and I haven't really been hungry this week. My appetite's just been like, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
It's been all right, but I haven't been hungry like I was the week previously. So I think the cheeky 3-course meal for my birthday did the trick, and I'm now not so hungry.
Fair.
But yeah,
the only reason that you'd push out of a mini cut to maintenance is to deal with that hunger. So if you're not feeling stupid amounts of hunger, then just stay in the deficit, man. Doesn't make sense to pull out. Like, why? I don't see why you would.
Yeah, I think we're gonna push it as long as we reasonably can, and paradoxical to I don't know contrary no fuck to the contrary of what most people do. I'm gonna be starting a gaining phase on the 1st of January.
Oh
yeah, I think that's the plan. New year, new me, taking advantage of the testosterone levels. Why does that sound so weird?
The most whamliest.
Yeah, natty test, bro. All the natty test.
Yeah, that's a special brand of. It comes in a special vial with a special needle. The natty test.
Taking testosterone and that.
Testosterone. Oh.
Yeah.
Let's not encourage. Let's not even get into it. Let's not. Please.
Yeah, I had a friend who tried it and he was like, "Yeah, not worth the hype."
Yeah, I had a mate who he wants to compete in a natural federation. And was like, I might take testosterone. And I was like, mate, either it's going to do nothing or it's going to do everything, and it's now a banned substance. Like, it's already being banned.
If it was so good, it would be banned.
Yeah, like either it does fuck all or it's going to get banned. Like, It's like when new steroids were being synthesized back in the olden days, and then they'd like not be banned from the Olympics yet because no one knew what it was, and then everyone would figure out what it was, and then they'd be like, oh, okay, let's ban it. Fucking yeah.
I get what you mean.
Not talk about Turk, man. Christ.
Another question, sort of going off training and being in a deficit. I can't remember if you said that you wanted to ask me this or somebody messaged me and asked me this and I wrote it down. But how are you finding progressing movements in the gym whilst in a dieting phase?
That's a question for you, man. I'm not in a dieting phase.
Well, yeah, but how have you found it in previous dieting phases?
Well, I found it.
Yeah. Give us the rundown.
So I've done 2 rapid loss, like mini cuts, not rapid fat loss, not like protein fast. 2 very aggressive diets, and then 2 less aggressive. The 2 less aggressive that were for much longer periods, progression was a lot easier and a lot steadier. For the mini cuts, it was fine for around the first 2 weeks, and then the final 2 weeks is when numbers would fall off. But what I will say is, as soon as I deloaded and came back and food went up, performance in about a week and a half jumped back up to where it was. So it was less of a actually losing strength, more of a losing the ability to perform at that level, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Especially when you're in a rapid deficit, the likelihood that you're going to have all of the resources you need to fucking continue to progress, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like I can honestly say that I've had some of the best training ever over the sort of the last training block. And things are progressing really, really well. And I've been in a dieting phase the whole time. I think a lot of what it comes down to when it's like, oh, I'm going into a diet, I'm going to get weaker, is more of a mental thing. Like if you walk into the gym and go, oh, fuck, I'm telling yourself you're going to get weaker, then what do you think is going to happen? You're going to get weaker. I've added 1.25 kilos to all my compounds for the last 6 weeks. They're all progressing sound. And the biggest thing as well is when you start to feel things slip a little bit and it's getting more difficult, is making sure you keep your technique the same. Because if you start to not go so deep, then what are you doing? You're putting less stimulus on the muscle. What's going to keep the muscle in the dieting phase? Stimulus. Keep the stimulus the same. Maintenance is still progress because you're coming down in body weight. So like, don't fall victim to the whole diet, I'm going to get weaker kind of thing, because you're not. Don't be a bitch.
Yeah, but like that's such a big thing, man. The mindset, honestly.
I've been touching new weights all diet, bro.
Stroking them.
I had to do it.
Like, your model, your progress model, how you approach your sets, how you want to progress them, shouldn't be changing in a push-up, in a diet. You're always going to be there to add at least a rep, add 1.25 kilo, the smallest amount of weight you can, and match reps or increase them while keeping technique the same. And yeah, like it's so important if you have a set where things don't go your way, don't cut the range of motion to chase the logbook numbers. Because if you're in a press, your pecs don't give a shit what the logbook says. They care about how much tension you put through them. That's what they care about. If you're going to sacrifice form to keep your logbook looking the same on paper, you're actually decreasing the amount of tension that is running through them. So technically that's a regression, bro. Oh my God.
I just mind fucked it.
Also, it's important, like if you do get a lift that goes down, don't start to spiral. Like I see it happen to people all the time. They'll be like, oh, weekly progression, but my dumbbell press went down a rep, so I think we're in it now. Now's the time to lose reps. Like, nah, man, it's just 1 rep.
Yeah, I had that the other week. So my pull session just didn't go very well. Yeah. And I'd been running those movements for quite a long period of time. It was just time to take them out.
Yeah.
And I said on my story, like, after every bad session, there's a good one. Because you're gonna have shit sessions forever. No, like obviously you're not going to. And funny enough, legs the next day was sick. Everything progressed. Sometimes you just have those bad days. The sort of sign of, okay, maybe things are getting a little bit hectic now, is where if I'd have had pull 2 weeks in a row and both of those sessions I was getting worse, then you've sort of got to take a look at, like, okay, when was the last time I had a diet break or a maintenance week, or am I just dieting like a bell end, and that's why my training performance is shit.
A cheeky little hack that I use with some clients who are either they're newer, or there's someone who's very like emotionally attached to their movements. It depends on the client. It's something that I've done with people before. If we're starting a diet, I might completely rewrite their plan with entirely new movements, because thought process being, because these movements are so novel and they haven't been running them up for months, they're able to set a new baseline, and they're able to adapt and progress those much, much easier, because there's not a long history of them, in a push-up phase when things are as optimal as possible. They've not been running up for 6 months. They're now setting a new baseline, and you're going to get neurological adaptations. And for those clients, it's kind of more of a case of they're dieting, they're seeing numbers improve. It also lets them reset their form as well, because they're all new movements. And for them, it's more enjoyable to be dieting and also seeing those movements increase. And you are increasing the stimulus as well. So, but it depends. Some people like to stick with what they have, and some people don't like to see movements drop even a rep. So for those people, that's when I do that. It's more of a psychological thing.
So with this new program, are all of the rep ranges 15 to 30 to tone the muscle because they're dieting then?
Yeah. So very, very little rest, really short rest periods, incredibly high volume, and then incredibly high reps. And then like a lot of partial ranges of motions to really pump the muscle, 21s on the hack. You don't want to go any lower than halfway on the hack, bro. You're going to hurt your knees,
Yeah. 90 degrees for optimal hypertrophy.
Exactly, bro. Just run that up to 8 plates instead, with very little movement. That's going to be much safer, bro.
This is what I was going to ask you about. Have you seen all of the sort of stuff coming out recently about partials within the lengthen range and the beneficial hypertrophic effects?
Yes.
And how that's like fucking basically equivalent or potentially even better to full range of motion?
Yes, I've seen a lot of this stuff, and my general impression is kind of, this is interesting. Let's give this time, because as far as I'm aware, feel free to correct me, but it was just one study or one small collection of studies. It doesn't seem to be, and I'm kind of getting the same idea from like the Physique Collective and RP and more evidence-based people, that, hey, this is really, really interesting and it's worth giving some thought to. But, let's not completely rewrite the rules of hypertrophy yet, because this hasn't had time to kind of sit and be tested and marinate. I think that's an important thing, is if you weren't already doing full range of motion, this is just another reason to do it, to get a full stretch. And, maybe if you weren't pausing any movements, maybe throw in a pause now, but don't throw everything out the window, and don't, start completely changing things up because of what one study has said. One study isn't really that valuable, sadly.
Yeah, it's exactly what you're saying there. Like with science, we're never like, this is the right answer, but maybe we're getting a little bit closer to what the right answer is. Yeah. And that's that sort of thing. I think the biggest sort of problem is, if you're doing partials within the lengthened range, how do you standardize that?
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time it's much easier to sort of standardize if you're doing sort of the top half of something compared to the bottom half, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like
it's very easy to tell when you're at the most lengthened position, because the machine will touch the pins on the hack, or the weight stack will go back against itself, so there's no more tension anymore. But how do you sort of judge, okay, when am I in like 50% of the movement? If that makes sense. Like, so it's a bit of a pain, you need to sort of work that out.
Yeah, I think in general, we all know that a higher range of motion has shown to be more productive for building muscle. So we always want the most range of motion we can, and we want to keep that as standard as possible. And if you're using as much ROM as possible, that's pretty standard. You can't get any more. And then if you've got any lagging muscles, maybe throw in a pause if you weren't already doing that. But that was already something that a lot of people were saying is beneficial, especially just in terms of like stopping momentum. If you pause on a hack, you're not going to be able to bounce out the hole, which means more tension through the quads and less just fucking shifting weights, bruh.
Something which I've done recently actually is reducing the amount of movements where I pause in the shortened position.
Yeah.
On a lot of stuff, because I found my knees were getting fucked up on the lying leg curl, and my elbows were getting fucked up on single arm pull down. I don't know why I emphasize that so
What
much.
the?
So like literally still getting to that point, but then not pausing there for like fucking 2 seconds. You might have seen my Smith press the other day where I literally lock it out and I'm straight back down.
Yeah.
I love watching those sets back because the drop off in fucking speed from the first rep to the last one is so funny. Because something like that where you're so stable, you can just rocket it up.
Yeah.
And then it drops off fast. But yeah, that's something I've experimented with recently and I'm quite enjoying. But I still think if you're new to training, making sure that you're owning those end ranges is a good idea until you start to sort of come up with those issues of like, okay, maybe this might be a good option, so that you make sure you're doing the full range of motion, lengthen to fully shorten, controlling it, because it can be very easy to go, oh, okay, I'm hammer curling the 8s. If I hammer curl the 10s next week, but I like swing up a little bit more, my arms are bigger.
Yeah. I think if I've got any movements that I'm going to give people like a pause in the short range, it's going to be towards the start, or we're deliberately trying to challenge that short range a bit more. It's like a leg extension. I am a big fan of pausing in the short range. It stops people ego lifting, and in the long run, it's much better for your knees, because ego lifting on a leg extension is going to be pretty shitty on most people's knees. And then like
I would definitely say that on a leg extension. Interestingly, I find it more on posterior sort of things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas like pausing at the top of a press, I'm fine. I just don't spend that much time there because I've got the lockout. I come back down and go to where it's going to be most beneficial. But yeah, I do get what you mean when it comes to like actually sort of pausing. Voice died. Poising. Do you just want to carry on talking?
I was just going to say, like, so for something like a leg extension, for arms and delts, like a bicep work as well, that stops people ego lifting. And if anyone is new to like specifically targeting their lat or their upper back and feeling what that's like, big fan of the pause there. Because you'll see as the set goes on and they have to squeeze it and they keep some like metabolites in there, they get a better feeling for where their lat is. And you can see, like, I can literally see with newer clients, if I'm like a set of 12, rep 1 versus rep 8 is so much more lat than rep 1. And then they'll say in the feedback, like, oh, by the end of the set, my lats were on fire. And I'll be like, yeah, you see that you tilted to one side a little bit more, get that shoulder blade down, bro. Very nice.
Banging, absolutely banging, bro. Absolutely banging. Yeah, I was gonna say leg extension is something where I definitely pause at the top, because it's so fucking easy to start like swinging that shit about on there, and then you don't get incredible quads. So that is not ideal. Why is my voice keep fucking me over today?
Too many check-ins, bro.
Absolutely, yeah. Check-ins, attack, voice box. OG Carbscast reference that I don't think anybody who's listening to this will know what Carbscast is, but check-ins do attack voice box.
There's no way they're gonna have any.
Have you listened to Carbscast?
I have not. No, they're on Apple Music, aren't they?
Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, I literally installed that the other day to listen to Holly Davage's podcast because of the because of the scale thing. That's actually muy bueno. Very happy with that.
Oh, I thought you were going to mention something there. Right, this was something that I was asked about weeks ago. I did actually answer it on the story. I'm not that shit. But what is your opinion? I mean, we're going to have the same opinion, but I just think it's something useful to say.
Are we?
Mr. Jack, what is your opinion on body fat scales?
Worrying about your body fat percentage is like worrying about the circumference of your ankle. It's a number which is meaningless. Like, I don't see a point. They're extremely inaccurate, first off. Even like DEXA scans, the most accurate scans in the world, in biology, whatever phrase you want to use, the most accurate scans for body fat percentage are still not 100% infallible and have a margin of error, and they're not gospel. But like, I at the end of the day, it's the same thing with scale weight. Like, I keep looking down at my scale, ashamed. I don't know why. Like, why are you dieting, or why are you pushing up? Not to be a certain number. Like when I'm dieting to get lean, I'm not doing it to say, hey, I'm 12% body fat. Like, no, I'm doing it to look a certain way. It's a pointless number, and don't get hung up on it. And hopefully that's your opinion too, Luke. What's your opinion on body fat scales?
Yeah, you'll know when you've lost body fat because you'll look fucking sick.
Yeah.
Like you don't need a scale to tell you that. Where they
Yeah.
can be useful is you say like, okay, 10 weeks ago I started the diet and I was X% body fat. And now, like over time, it's definitely come down, as has my scale weight. And funnily enough, I look leaner too. So it's like the triple threat confirming all those three things. But yeah, the science behind how those things work is very, very questionable. And not something I would rely on, to be honest.
Yeah, like I've got one because it's Bluetooth, and I literally just use it because it's Bluetooth and it tracks my weight for me across the week. Which I don't even look at the scale. I just, like, my phone goes ding and I go cool. But like if I've looked at it a couple times and it will be like, oh, you've gained X many pounds across X many weeks, but your muscle mass is identical, or your muscle mass is lower. And I'll be like, I can tell you firsthand that that's not true. Not being funny.
Yeah. Don't you know I'm hack squatting an extra half a plate aside? Fuck you, my quads are bigger.
Yeah, and it's like I can see visually, and as well, it would tell me like my BMR. I think it told me one time my BMR was like 1,300 calories. My base metabolic rate is 1,300 calories, and I was like, I don't think that's right. Like I dieted on just under 2K, with at the start with not that many steps. Like it, yeah. Don't worry about the numbers, because they can be wrong and they can be very demotivating if they tell you something that you don't want to see. I think that's the main crux of my argument is there's a possibility they'll show you something that you don't like and it could upset you, and you shouldn't pay attention to that. So just don't pay attention to them at all. Tells you something nice, cool, but don't listen to it still, you know?
Yeah, like even when you said there, like it tells you you've got less muscle mass, you might have just drank less water the day before.
Yeah.
You were less hydrated. So it's like, oh, this guy's got less lean mass and he's more of a fat bastard. But actually, he's progressed. He's progressed in the gym for weeks on end. He's gotten stronger and he can visually see that he has more muscle. So what are you going to trust? The mirror or a fucking piece of shit technology?
Yeah. It's like we all train to look a certain way. You know, I'm not training so that thing on the floor tells me, oh, you got some sick numbers, bro. Like, no. You know?
Yeah.
Train to look a certain way.
On that note, I reckon we call it a day because my voice is getting progressively worse.
Regressively underloading.
Regressively underloading. No, I'm having a negative response to progressively overloading my verbal communication.
Deload.
My body is now starting to regress, so I need to deload for the next 8 hours and not speak to anybody, preferably longer. Actually, that'd be really, really good if I could not speak to anybody for longer. But yeah, I reckon we call it a day. Keep this one a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
As I need to go and cook my beef and potato.
Oh, I got beef and rice. Get dunked on.
I know you have cream of rice. You have
beef,
cream of rice.
Beef and rice.
What? You changed?
No, because right, I love when this happens. So my girlfriend was getting ready to go out, and she was like, I was like, I got to cook a meal, and she was like, oh, spend some time with me, I love you, whatever. And I was like, oh, fine, I guess. So I didn't eat. I know, terrible bodybuilder. I clearly don't want it bad enough. So now I've got 2 meals to eat in one. So now I've got a ton of calories to play with. So I'm gonna do beef and rice and chicken, and then like a massive bowl of cream of rice and go to bed happy.
You know the scales are going to tell you that you're fatter tomorrow now.
Yeah, calm, bro. My scale's not going to tell me shit because I'm going to stamp on it and I'm not going to listen to what it says. I don't step on it, I stamp on it.
Get a sledgehammer, bro. Mess it up.
I'll do it old school. I'll do it old school. I'll just use mirror pics. I'll just be like, still have abs, eat more. Still have abs, eat more. Oh, I've got no abs and now I'm fat. Oh, I eat less, I guess. Just stand on one of those cooking scales.
That would tell you accurately, bro.
I got one of those. Sorry, I will say this and then I'll let you leave. I got what I thought was. So I went on Amazon because Liam was like, "Oh, mate, we need to start tracking salt," and I was like, "Calm." So I got a decimal place scale. So I went on Amazon and it's like, oh, coffee scale. I was like, that makes sense. You know, coffee, you got to like, you're not going to use a gram of coffee or whatever. So I buy this coffee scale, and then people come around my house and they're like, Jack, you have a drug scale. And I'm like, nah, it says I got it off Amazon, bro. It says coffee scale. And they're like, yeah, I'm sure it did. Yeah, coffee and herb scale, yeah.
I
And they
knew
were
you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
yeah, like, and they were like, you know, like a fucking grinder for weed is called like a herb crusher on Amazon. And I was like, I went on coffee scale and it was like linked herb crusher. And I was like, no, I've got a drug scale.
Crush the herb.
Yeah.
Last thing I would say is, right, so when I literally the first like 3 months that I was tracking for, I was using like an old school like analog
No,
scale for so long.
no,
The most ridiculous thing ever, mate. I'm like, I wasted so much time. I
that would
wasted
drive me nuts.
so much time and so much accuracy, and I was fuming about that.
That would drive me nuts, man.
Yeah, but I just didn't really think about it at the time. I was like, is there anything better I could use?
It's like you're fucking baking a cake.
Yeah, man. Man's baking all the cake. Right. Let's call it a day there.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about some good things and then a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody once again for listening. And I will stop the recording now. See you later.
Bye everyone.